Okay, good afternoon, world. Okay, it's a wonderful Sunday afternoon, and we are once again here live on Bonding with Reelj. It's first Sunday of the month of November. Okay, and ilang tulog na lang po, Pasko na talaga, no? And we can already feel the cool breeze uh, blowing around us. Okay, so and we have just also finished our what do you call this? All Saints Day, no? A few days ago, and hopefully that we have somehow visited our loved ones sa kani-kanilang mga sementeryo, and situations are getting better, especially here in Iloilo. Medyo hindi na gaanong strict ang ating mga areas, but nevertheless, my dear friends, it's still careful time pa rin, ano? Okay? We should not be too excited of things, and we should continue to be careful. We should continue to be careful, and we should continue to practice discipline, okay, and personal hygiene. No? Always wear your face masks, okay, and careful pa rin. Okay, so this afternoon, my dear friends, we would be talking about leadership, youth leadership, and we have our guest later on who would be sharing to us her story about leadership, her leadership experience sa school during her days. But before we go to that one, let's kick off first with our meditation for this afternoon. Okay, I entitled our meditation as "Choose Joy." Choose joy. Our passage is found on the book of Philippians, chapter 1, verses 1 to 8. Philippians chapter 1, verses 1 to 8. And this talks about Philip, no? Na remembering the churches and the members of the churches and everybody who was supporting him. If we would take a look at the book of Philippians, okay, we can see there a lot of excellent doctrines. We can also see there a lot of works and who Jesus Christ was or is, diba? And of course, nowadays, very common itong mga bashers about mga nega people, right? Very common siya around us, but we should not be surprised. We should not be surprised about them because way back in the Old Testament or even in the New Testament, these kinds of people have already been existing. So, marami na pong mga bashers before and marami na rin po ang mga tawag dito, yung mga nega, no? Mga negative people around. No? So, hindi na po tayo dapat magtaka nowadays, no, kung bakit maraming mga bashers, because these kinds of people already exist way back time immemorial. No? And of course, we can also read here in the book of Philippians about how Philip was able to encourage people and how Philip would would teach us to think positive amidst the trial times. No? I'd like to focus our attention shortly on three little things for us to stay positive with your friends. Now, the first one is that we should give thanks. Give thanks. Philippians chapter 1, verses 3 to 5 says, I thank my God every time I remember you. In all my prayers for all of you, I always pray with joy of your partnership in the gospel from the first day until now. So here, my dear friends, Philip is trying to tell us that we have he has been thanking the Lord. He has been thanking everybody, no, that who are those who are with him in the ministry, di ba? No? So here Paul is starting to, or Paul started the whole book with thanksgiving. No? He started the whole book with thanksgiving, and we can also see here that we have, or Paul have the choice, right? He has the choice whether he likes to think on the negative or on the positive side. But Paul chose to think on the positive side. He welcomes all the positive and all the constructive criticism. Okay? And he also uh, is looking forward to fellowshipping with everybody. Okay, so that's the first one, to be joy. To choose joy is to always have this joyful or thanksgiving mood, no? Because nowadays we really need to choose. I mean, it's difficult to think positively, right? It's very difficult to think of good things when in fact there is rarely a good thing that happens around us. Diba? We could say that how can we say thank you, or how can we have thanksgiving, ang nangyayari sa paligid natin is uh, parang disaster, right? But if we would think it that way, talagang disaster yung mangyayari sa atin. Diba? We would just basically sink down with what is going on around us. No? But if we think positive, if we would focus on the brighter side of life, then I am very sure that there is something good. No? And if I would ask you, uh, what good things have you discovered, or what good things have you realized when this pandemic started? Now that we are almost done with it, what have you realized? Diba? I am very sure that many of you out there would say, would list them down, and you could see more positive things. And that is what Paul is trying to encourage us, to look on the bright side of life. Why should we look on the bright side of life? Because verse 6 would tell us, being confident of this very thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Christ Jesus. So we have the confidence. We have the confidence that God would always be there. We have the confidence that God will never leave us. Why? Why? Because number one, the Bible tells us that it was God. God starts the work. It was God who started the work. Everything was from Him. Okay. And if we say, well, if everything was from Him, and then He must not be a good God, because bad things happen. Bad things happen. Okay. But we would not also forget that God gave us the capacity or the freedom to choose. Diba? God gave us the freedom to choose, just like what He did with Adam and Eve in the garden. Binigyan niya ng freedom to choose. But nevertheless, He still oversee everything. And that when everything starts to crumple down, He would do things out to draw us back. God takes personal responsibility for completing His work in you. When God saw that Adam and Eve was a bit going away, or these things, this current things that are happening around us is getting out of hand, right? God did so many things to remind us that He is still in control. Diba? God did so many things to remind us that He is still uh, there with us because He takes personal responsibility for completing His work to us. So, He is not or He did not leave us alone. Hindi niya po tayo iniwan but mas lalo niya po tayong inawakan because God is faithful to complete it in you. God is faithful to complete it. He is a man of his words. And that is why until now, we can experience the goodness ng Panginoon because he is in the process of completing these things to us. Ika nga, maybe we can say to people, let's be patient with so and so because God is not yet finished with him. God is not yet finished with him. So just like all of us, let's be patient with ourselves because God is not yet finished with us. Okay, but in doing that, let's also be patient with one another. Okay, because our growth differs from person to person, right? And then God, the 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 time frame of God is different from person to person, diba? But one thing is for sure, God is faithful to complete it in you, okay? Because He said it so on His gospel. Number three, why will God complete it in us? Because He has this affection. He has an affection for all of us. He loved us so much. He cares for us. And we can read that in verse 7 to 8. It says, "It is right for me to feel this way about all of you, since I have you in my heart, and whether I am in chains or defending and confirming the gospel, all of you share in God's grace with me. God can testify how I long for all of you with the affection of Christ Jesus." Here, Paul is trying to teach us three simple ways. Number one, in the ministry, Paul had a personal commitment. Paul had a personal commitment. He said, I have you in my heart. All of the people, all of those who have been following him and supporting him, Paul always have them in his heart. Just the same with our ministry, with our churches, with our organizations. If we care for each other, we have each other in our hearts. Whether we are together physically or not, whether there will be oceans and miles between us, but distance cannot separate us. Distance can never separate us because of our personal commitment that we have each other in our heart. Next one, Paul also teaches us of the shared ministry. All of you share in God's grace with me. So, meaning, my dear friends, that in this ministry, it is not just the part of one person, it is everybody's task. We all have our responsibility in the ministry. We all have our special role to play. huh? So in order for our ministry to be successful, we should first and foremost do our task properly, do our share. Okay? And the third one, divine testimony. God can testify how I long for all of you. Divine testimony. So our fellowship with one another, our our bonding with one another will be a testimony that we are not alone in this boat. So in closing, my dear friends, in choosing joy, first we should put Jesus first. Jesus first above all. Secondly, oh, others second. God first, and then second, others. Put others second. And thirdly, you, yourself. We should put ourselves last in the ministry. Of course, uh, people would say, how can you do ministry if you are not taking care of yourself? Huh? Of course, automatically, my dear friends, we should also take care of ourselves so that we can take care of others. No? But as we have said, no, the secret of choosing joy is to choose Jesus Christ first, and then others, and then ourselves. Okay? And that is why, my dear friends, this afternoon, in choosing joy, no, we are, or I personally, is very, very thankful that our guest for today said yes. Okay, and she is, how would I say? She is a lady that had a special place in my heart. Special place because somehow we grew up together in one school, in one department. Okay? We grew up in one circle. No? Kaya lang nauna ako sa kanya. But nevertheless, age was not a hindrance, no, in working together in school before. Huh? She finished her days. No, if if my memory serves me right, hindi siya kasi Ilonggo eh. She's from Mindanao, if I remember it right. No? Pero sang ari diri mahagpok man ang iyang nga Cebuano. But for sure, she has learned a lot of Ilonggo words already. Okay. She used to be the vice governor of the College of Education sang way back in 2001 to 2002. And not only that, she did not just serve our department as vice governor, but she also served as the editor-in-chief of the Educator, which is the school papers and College of Education. So you can just imagine the vice governor and the editor-in-chief all in one. So very, very, very toxic ang student days niya. But she was able to manage everything. No? At the same time, she was also the layout artist of the Educator way back in 2000. In 2003, she became the executive editor of the Centralite. No? She finished a Bachelor's of Education, specialization in music, arts, and PE in 2003. Huwag po kayong mag-alala. No, papakantahin po natin siya mamaya. She has a good voice. Ayan, no? Marunong din po siya magtinikling habang kumakanta ng ng ABC. Alright? So, presently, she is teaching in San Vicente Elementary School in Banga, South Cotabato. Okay? My dear friends, help me in welcoming a dear friend, Sharon. Ayan. Hi, Sha. Magandang hapon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Ayan. Would you like to greet your fans club?
Grabe, ang introduction ba? Pati di pinon ako ninong Reelj sa, with singing.
Ang natural. Huwag isang libagon
Natural.
sa aton.
Oo.
Kamusta kayo
Okay.
dyan sa South Cotabato?
We're doing good. Mabilis po dito yung vaccination namin.
Mabilis yung
But,
vaccination, meaning mabilis participate?
so, by Monday, we're having the vaccination for 12 years old to 17 years old na mga bata.
Okay. Okay. So how's your work? How's being a teacher sa elementary school with this whole thing going on? Modular ka mo or
We choose to be
virtual?
modular. We choose to be modular because we have no choice. But because some of our mga bata don't have any internet connection. My place is a rural urban place, but we are only 13 minutes from the city. 13 kilometers from the city. Kung mabilis, 5 minutes nandun ka na sa city. Pag mabagal, siguro mga 15 minutes ka rin. Depende sa
Ah,
speed.
parang
Oo.
parang CPUNA tsaka Iloilo City.
Oo. But we don't have traffics here. And our roads here is becoming 8 lanes na.
Wow!
Oo.
8 lanes na
And
deep.
if I could see you some pictures, yung bundok
Sure.
talaga dito, yung bundok talaga dito, ano eh,
Bundok talaga.
kiniscrape talaga to widen the road.
So
To
is
tell
it a
you,
good thing?
frankly, nung Reelj, nahadlok na kuya magpabok. Oo, karadlokan na magpabok. But
Pero
we
wala ka
cannot,
mo sang overpass?
we have overpass sa city na. Pero diri
Okay. Pero dala sa
it's a
area mo?
provincial road, abi, national highway, abi, diri sa amon.
Okay,
In
okay.
front of our
So,
house, ang atubang sang balay namon is DNR Senro. It's a Community Environment Natural Resources Office.
okay.
Kami ining lugar
Oh,
namon.
bisan mo ko na
Ah,
imbitaron?
in the future, sige madula ang pandemic, lagaw ka di, malagaw gid kita.
Galing kay wala ko nagpa-vaccine, di ba? Basta hindi ko nakasulod.
Okay. Hindi man abi pwede kung may ara kita sang doktor nga ano ba nga may advice ba lang doktor nga hindi kita pwede. So mapati ta sa doktor ta.
Mm.
Hindi sa uso. Hindi sa uso. Sa doktor ta mamati.
Correct sa doktor, oh, di ba?
Oo.
Well, anyway, uh, I understand you already have kids, right? How is being a
Kid.
mother? Kid?
A kid.
A kid?
Isa
Akala ko
lang bata
kids na.
ko.
Isa lang kili. Way mo naging dugangan?
Si Lord na magdugang. Damo ko bata sa eskwelahan. Oo.
Makarelate din ako sinadira.
Oo.
Kasi a father without a wife but has a
Ah,
lot of
oo.
kids. Di ba?
It's so very challenging for me kay my
Mhm.
husband is working abroad. I have my 68-year-old mother and I have a sister who is 10-year-old younger sa akon.
Tiway ka plano
So ang
wala kang
my
plan to
oo, ang daughter ko is 10 years old right now. So we have a pacing of 10 years dito sa bahay. 10 years, 10
uh
years. So it's very challenging now nga pandemic because of
uh
this work from home thing nga ang
Yeah.
imo nga dala sa balay mo is trabaho gyapon. Sometimes ang bata ga siling, "Ma, san o ka diri magstay sa balay? Mas-stay ka diri damo man gyapon work." So
Mm.
yun kailangan mo talagang dalhin yung mga SLM mo, mga modules mo, stapler mo. Actually last year very talaga mahirap talaga last year. Wala
Mhm.
kaming bond papers, delay yung pag-download ng mga budget. So I
Uh-huh.
have many friends. This is the advantage of having many friends. So na-mention ko kanina yung si Smurth, di ba? Di
Mm.
ba? And I have a friend man in Singapore, classmate ko siya ng elementary. Nagpadala siya ng pera for the bond papers. Link lang, bond papers. Kay wala gid kami sang anhon nang i-reproduce. And later na, amo na ni nagdamo na. Delayed pa.
Okay.
Oo.
That's nice. So at least little by little, right? That's the
Oo.
blessing
Pero
of
at least
indeed
hindi
having a lot
na-delay
of
ang
friends.
distribution sa mga bata. And we need to distribute to find nangita kami sang lugar nga kung diin kami safe. So
Uh-huh.
I gin offer ko ang balay ko nga wala na tapos didto ko nag-distribute.
Wow.
Dasig lang gid.
As
Dasigay gid
ever,
kay
no?
oo, kay ang virus ko nabi sa to dasig. Subong hindi na siguro
Right.
siya isog.
The ever
Oo.
Alwan, the ever, what you call this, the ever giving Sharon Pinto is still ganun pa rin, no? Never change. I salute you, my dear. Okay. Now, let's go back sa student days mo sa CPU, no? You
Yes.
said that you came from a 'di ba sa Mindanao ka halin, right? So
Oo.
was there a little culture shock or adjustment?
Ah,
How was your adjustment sa school being coming from the province?
um, may background ako nga isugid nga daw sikreto ni siya pero this is not already a secret. But amo ni. Before I went to CPU, I graduated 1998. I was a centennial graduate of the Philippines. Char. Kasi
Hmm.
may tatak
Ah.
talaga yung aming y- may tatak talaga yung aming ano, yung aming certificate. Yung diploma namin
Uh-huh.
ng high school. Kalayaan 100. So, that's it. Then nag-enroll pa ako sa isang university dito.
Uh-huh.
And I was hooked in swimming team.
Hmm.
So ano ako swimmer ako kasi I used to the event of ano to backstroke and freestyle. Along with that, I was encounter friends who was able to join the yung naga-protest gani. You know that? And I
Okay.
was an educational scholar of anong katulad ng CAP.
Mhm.
So wala akong bayad. But during the rally, I stand up and nag-istorya-istorya ako dito eh. Siyempre, char, siyempre. Siyempre, ang injustice nga ginahimo sang university nga ina sa faculty. And siguro may behind gid man nga faculty sa amon nga daw gigamit kami. And I was only 16 years old going 15 years old kasi bata ako nag-school eh.
Mhm.
16. So, my cousin is one of the audience there. Nabisto ako. Oh, ara na siya dito. Nanugid siya sa balay. Ara na siya dito. Nagwilga-wilga na siya dito.
Ah.
So, amo na, that's it. One of the reason why I was transferred to. And believe it or not, no, hindi ako makapasa-pasa sa TAT nila, teaching aptitude test nila.
Naman.
My first course is AB history because I love to read.
Oh.
Oo. Hindi ako makapasa-pasa. Hindi ko alam. Katatlong take ko. The passing score is 75. The last score I had is 73. Pasunod lang na siya mo. 69, 72, and 73. Ambot nga, hindi ko ka-test. Pag abot ko sa CPO nga, kataas ang score ko. Maybe it's God's plan.
Yeah.
That's the puzzle
Oh.
that naayos na ba?
Hmm.
Nasadya
But
gid sinang
anyway.
natabo. Oo. Pag abot ko sa
Okay.
CPO, that's it. May background ako sa press conference kasi
Mhm.
sa high school nag-join din kami ng mga contest yung mga editorial writing, mga ganun ba. Specialty ko talaga editorial writing Filipino and a partly of photojournalism. Pero hindi ako nananalo. Hindi ako katulad ng sister ko na talagang national awardee. Ganun ba? It was very challenging for me kasi bata pa lang ako eh. Kung yung 16 years old natin ngayon compare sa akin dati, siguro ako mas matured siguro ako ba. Kunuhay lang eh. Pero partly pagdating namin sa Iloilo when Super Ferry leaves nang hinatid na kami, tapos umalis na yung Super Ferry, hala naghibi na kami. I have my cousin with me man kasi. Oo. Very challenging talaga but hindi ako nahiya nagpakilala ng aking skills. Si Sir Edgar Eriman, ang first na nag-interview sa akin.
Hmm.
Why I am enrolling in the College of Education and why I'm going to take a Bachelor of Elementary Education. Yun lang. Yun lang natandaan siguro ako ni Sir. Tapos parang napaborito na nila siguro ako. Kasi because I have this always smiling, di man ako
Hmm.
nagakusmod pirmi, nagakadlaw gid ako pirmi.
Hmm.
Amo lang ginaakon panlaban, my charm.
Char.
Oh, oh, char
Until
char
now
lang.
naman, 'di ba?
Oo.
Until now.
Oo.
Yes. But way back in your student days, by the way, before we go further, no, I promised some friends to greet them, okay? Good afternoon kay Marlo from Cebu, si Jester from Bacolod, okay? Si Rodel also from Bacolod, okay? And
Mm-mm.
then to all our 369 subscribers, no? Magandang
Wow.
hapon po sa inyong lahat. Thank you very much. As well, shout out pala kay Ives. Ives Seveliano. Si Ives will be our guest next week. So, and then, segue ko na lang din. Baka makalimutan ko. No? So, for those out there, no, nakakilala kay Lizette or you would like to
Yes.
know
Hi,
more
Ma'am
about her, no?
Lizette.
Yes, ayan. So, live cat sa kanyang YouTube. And then, if you are fond of music, no? J. Hodilia TV po. Pag nag-search kayo niyang J. Hodilia TV, ang lalabas is Music Beat. Okay. So, thank you very much, our dear friends. So, siya, nung nakapasok
Mm.
ka na sa ano sa CPU, no? Nakapasok ka na sa CPU, syempre during those time ang CPU has a very high reputation pa, di ba? I mean, it's not that bumaba ang reputation ngayon, but congratulations nga pala sa CPU. Alam mo kung bakit?
Yes.
Naka-top
Yung Asia,
15
Top Asia.
tayo.
Naka-Top
Oo, no?
Asia, good
Yes,
university
oo.
tayo. And believe ako doon sa
Something.
5 na top notcher ng chemical technician.
Di ba?
Oh, di
Oo.
ba?
Oo, no? So, we have maintained
Notcher.
our standards for the world-class na standard, no?
Oo.
And, isegue ko yun sa question ko sa iyo na were you not somehow threatened or insecure kasi you came from the province and then first time mo sa ganito kalaking school,
Yeah.
you know? And plus may language barrier pa ng konti kasi accent mo
Oo.
is far different, you know?
Oo.
How did you
Maisog ang
overcome all
accent
those
here.
things? Yes, correct. Oo.
The accent here
Although,
is matapang. Ini yung
di ba? Although
we are using baba.
oh,
Ikaw na ba?
laki,
Mga ganun ba? So
ang,
far, wala man. Wala man ako
ang,
nag-insecure because I promised my mom na I will study hard and di na gid ako mag-intra sang mga SSS.
ginotek niya, ba't yun? Okay,
Sorry.
now,
That's the
yes.
truth.
No, but, you know, with that thing on, syempre, diri sa CPU, so una, we are also exposed to all of these kinds of
Oo.
groups, di ba? Kadamo sa mga groups
So,
natin dire. So were you not invited to join them here sa CPU?
yes, we have. Mayroon kaming invitation pero I was already declined it. Kay alam ko na yung plastada niya. Because when I enter CPO, parang nag-mature na yung aking isip ba. Because of the past
Ah,
experience
mm,
na nangyari sa akin. Um,
mm,
ang president yata namin ng Mindanao Centralian dati is one of their member and partly he has ano ba ito? Fraternity. So
mm.
I ina-avoid yung fraternity and then yung communisting thing na yung ganun ba? Na thing ba?
Uh-huh.
Oo. Yung mga
Mm.
society na ganun ba? It's so blessing to find a friend who is a member of Campus Crusade for Christ. Yun lang.
Ah, okay. So at least na-refocus
Oo.
ang student days mo.
Iba
Okay.
talaga,
Ah,
iba kasi ang Christian University sa
mm,
secular university.
yes, I agree.
Oo.
I agree. But you know, now that you were in the Campus Crusade, right? So
Mm-mm.
what has the role or what was or has this played a role, no, when you entered
Yung sa Campus
leadership level
Crusade
sa school?
kasi, oo,
Or
it
ano,
helps.
what made you push na mag-enter ka sa school publication?
Yung school publication, dati pa yan, high school pa, we are already in the publication. So,
Mm.
parang na-develop lang siya. Kasi, when I enter, parang, I mean, say ha, it's Kolelat. The College of Education is, that time is Kolelat. Sorry for, but this is the truth. This is the truth. We have Ate Zosette Molinos, who is a Philippine American, editor-in-chief. So, dalawa kami from Mindanao who is offering ourselves to help the educator, yung pinsan ko. So, nag-start ako as a layout artist and then yung pinsan ko, associate editor siya kaagad. Without any screening. Dapat siniscreen kasi yon. Kasi baka may ibang pa dyan na, ano ba. But, it's blessing in disguise kasi parang na ano yun, na gateway ng College of Ed to shine. To shine. Oo, to shine. And then,
Ah,
yung Campus Crusade, in-invite kami one afternoon during our activity period. 'Di ba? Talaga meron naman tayong activity period sa CPU. Yung parang fellowship lang. Then, I like the ambience kasi yun naman talagang ginagawa namin dito. Kasi before ako umalis, officer na ako dito ng Alliance Youth Philippines, Kamakop. Kamakop kasi ako na
okay.
ano ako, oo. Officer na ako dito. So, I think the leadership is already in me. Gamay pa siguro gid man ako kay maghampang sang una ang uh, the common nga ginhambal sa mga upod ko is si Sharon lang leader, si Bukbuk lang ang leader. Amo na siya bala. So, I already practicing leadership siguro pero hindi ko alam na it's already leadership.
Mm,
Mm.
yeah. Pero
Diba?
like, so when you enter sa ano, kasi like, nag-vice governor ka sa CPUR, no?
Oo.
And being a active sa publication, we understand nga syempre, for or it's kinda parang two stones yung kinuha mo and pinukpok sa ulo mo, 'di
Yeah.
ba? Plus
That's
education is not
mahirap siya nung but wala kang family to cling on
mm.
doon.
So
Ikaw
how
lang
did you
mag-isa.
manage?
Oo,
How did
ikaw
you
lang
manage your
mag-isa.
student days?
Oo. I make myself busy with those things. Parang bahay ko na yung College of Ed dati. At bahay ko na rin yung office na maliit ng educator. Doon
I
na ako,
feel
parang
you.
doon na akong tambayan ko. Oo. And the gym, the old gym, doon kila Ma'am Palabrika.
Mm.
Doon mo ako makikita kung nawawala na ako. Doon na kami naglalaro. Oo.
Ah,
Kasi we
okay.
don't have still the swimming pool.
Mm.
2005 lang nung umalis ako. Parang ano lang ako nakaswim. Parang half a year lang ako nag-swim doon. Unlike ngayon na pwede mo pang patambayan yun ba?
I don't think
Ganyan.
so. I don't
No.
think so kasi may ticket ata sila para makapasok
Oo.
years back. Yeah. You cannot just easily enter unlike before, But I think, as far as I know, I'm not so sure, but as
Mm.
far as I know, may ticket ka bago makapasok, something like that. So
Multitasking
anyhow,
is my
your
my
skill.
your skill is also multitasking.
Ah, okay.
I
So
am
like,
studying and ang katabi ko niyan yung binabasa ko. Tapos
mhm.
pag ma-bored, drawing na ako. Yun. Yun.
Ah, okay.
Ganun yun.
Pero like, what made you push na kasi nasa ano ka na nun, nasa school paper ka na nun eh, 'di ba?
Oo.
When you ran for CPUR, no, nasa
Oo.
ano ka na, nasa publication ka na. So what made you push for CPUR when your plate was almost full?
Ah, nag-trigger talaga 'yan nung doon kami sa PE department na may ang kalaban namin is parang English, major
Mhm.
English siya. Then nagsabi yung kasama kong governor na, "Madalagan ta bala ka governor sin uya himuon ta di hambal niya na ba." So I was pinpoint na mag-vice governor sa kanya. So, it was really Ma'am Lenny Palabrica. Ma'am Len, if you are watching, ipasa ko lang tong link mamaya sa kanya. Yes, si Ma'am Lenny talaga, she prayed for us after going to CPUR office filing our candidacy. So, parang
Mhm.
landslide 'yon. Ang kalaban namin is tourism. And one thing na may nangyari doon ba sa ano man 'yon, sa Rose ang votation area. Sabi ng dalawang education, sino ka diyatong butuhon sa vice gov man? Wait akong kakilala ka diyang pinto nga di asin o daa. Hamba na ba? Sige butuhan na. Kay tupad man kami nga tatlo. Sige butuhan na. After they vote, I gave them my ID. Huy, ikaw gali! Ang banya na sa akon. Manang! Ang banya na sa akon. Oo, ako na, hipos lang. Pero, basi hindi man tama daw, okay daw kusog man tong taga-tourism. So, after na nagtapos ang election, it was a landslide. Gamay-gamay lang gid ang butos ng taga-tourism.
Malamang ang nagboto sa tourism lang.
Posible kag ang tourism nga iban sa amon man.
Okay. Okay. But like, how was it? How was it like being a student leader before? How was it? Did it make you a better person or anong I mean, ano nga learnings ang
Uh,
or like how did it contributed to who you are right now?
yeah. Um, it's very challenging but it's very enjoying kasi isang lamang ko is I know how to negotiate people sa ngayong status ko na. I know how to negotiate people and I know how to convince them which is good and better. Pwede ko silang papiliin ba? Dati kasi sa mahirap yung mga ganyang mga tapos yung decision making talaga dapat strong. Challenging yung nangyari sa akin kasi after second sem, nawala na si governor ko. I need to stand for the CPUR day. And
Mm.
before, si Ma'am Hako. Ma'am Hako is my, advisor during that time. The 3 signatories in the bank book is the vice governor, the governor, and the
The
advisor. So,
advisor.
I am holding the bank book, allied. So, this was the training before kasi nag-iisa akong bata for 10 years. My mom used to inaasa niya yung ibang mga ganyan-ganyan sa akin. At the age of 14, I was already know how to transact money from the bank. Dala-dala ko lang yung may kasama lang ako na mas matanda sa akin pero ako talagang humahawak ng pera. So, it was very challenging for me kasi I need to befriend all the teachers para mag-ugyon sila. You know how college education is. Meron tayong PE department. They are conflicting sa taas di ba? If you see the setup noon dati nung. So, I need to befriend them. So, lahat ng mga rebates namin, sinasabi ko talaga kay Ma'am Janet dati na, Ma'am, dapat bigyan mo talaga ang PE. So, the rebates in the t-shirt, is the uniform. Ako ang isa sa nagbago ng uniform na pantalon kasi naakigid ako sa tong pag-abot namon dito is the brown skirts and the icru blouse. 'Di ba
Mm.
mahirap? Oo. So ako isa doon sa nagpropose no na palitan. So nagsugot man sa to si Ma'am si Sir Pumado that time and then pinalitan ni Ma'am Suyo. Ayun na, I need to befriend them para mag-ugyon kami tanan. So, during the first time siguro nangyari yun sa history ng College of Ed that we created a rhythm band. We created the rhythm band nga nagagamitin sa parade. And then,
Mm.
lahat ng mga teachers, iba ang uniform sa mga bata. Yun ang kakaibahan doon. And after those years na sunod-sunod na nananalo na po ang education. Kasi parang yaya yung mga education students. Dati yung mga maestra daw yaya, gid ba? Igo pagwapa yung nursing mo, di ba la? Do mo
Yes.
na. That's the yung parang amo na ginabalang connotation. And
That's
mga
a
commerce na
connotation.
mga gwapa, mga negosyante, mabata ka negosyante. How about the educators? Bata ka farmer? So hindi ako magsugot. World-class farmer. Ang ginaisip ko.
Kay during those times kundo medyo nubo-nubo ang imong
Oh,
skill, IT education ka na lang.
oo, daan mo
No,
na siya. So,
education ka na
hindi
lang,
gali
no? But they
dapat.
didn't know, yeah. They didn't know nga education is the key to the future.
Oo.
'Di ba? Walang
There was time
courses
na
pag walang
gusto ko rin
education.
mag-shift. Gusto
Ah,
kong mag-tourism kasi para maganda rin ako, para gaganda din ako.
ah. At kung
Pero I
nag-shift ka,
promise my mom to be a teacher kasi
but like
doon na
with
yung
your
ba?
what? ati kung nag-tourism ka, kag nagtudlo ako sa tourism, bago ba ang tourism kung magkita kita.
Damo gwapa dito,
Di ba?
di ba la?
Yeah, correct. Our dear friends, no, if you have your questions with you, no, if you would like to ask Bok some of your questions, don't be afraid or don't be shy, no, to drop or to leave your questions dyan sa comment box natin, no, and for sure, Sharon would be happy to answer that. And sa mga hindi pa po nakapag-subscribe, baka naman po, no, yung link dyan sa baba, no? Yung watermark dyan, click na lang po pag-subscribe and then click also the notification bell so that you will be updated. Malabang, si Sharon nakasubscribe na to eh. Right, Cha,
Oo.
no?
Oo, okay
Yan,
na.
di ba? So, Cha, with this current trend right now, no, with, I'm sure ang technology right now is very far different from when
Mm-mm.
you were still a student, no?
Yeah.
So, what can you advise the new generation who would like to also become leaders, you know, or to follow your footsteps sa College of Education? Ay, nang Helen Closo, hello, good
Hi, Nang
afternoon.
Helen. Nagalantaw siya? Ara
On
siya? Hi, Nang
my
Helen.
times, nag-browse na siya sa
Oo.
YouTube channel to.
Nang Helen
Oo.
stood up as my mother.
Oh, mother
Kung
of
may
all
ara kami
kasi ng
problema
Helen.
sa balay and so happen nga matawagan ako nga in front of Nang Helen. I used to cry with
Oh,
Nang Helen.
yeah. Mother of all
Manang
yes
gid
ng
na siya
Helen
namon.
CPUNA. Yes.
Mm-mm.
So, what would you suggest or what would you advise to the new generation about
Okay.
leadership?
If you want to be a leader, be a good follower. Always gid ina. So ako, I never rebat kung may ara pasang leader nga nagalid sang team namon. It's my
Mm-hmm.
practice na even now nga may ara na in the profession na when someone is stood up and nang di ba may ara ginaya nga ma-feel mo gid nga gusto ya gid mag-leader. So
Mm.
I gid ako sa iya, ma-follow lang gid ako sa iya. And then I think we need to have a good relationship with other people with the help of our God. Ako yan nung grasya lang gid tanan sa Ginoo ni. But if you are
Mm-hmm.
not founded with the word of God, mabudlayan ka gid ba? Oo, as a
Mm-hmm.
leader kay Maxwell formulation of leadership, 20% of work, 80% of prayer. If you could agree with that. Tama, di ba la?
Agree,
Sa
correct.
mga sa Centralite is a very big very big responsibility for me kay we are clashing of ideas dito kay tipuro na bright sila pila nga daan kabilog ang cum laude may attorney ka pa basta kanami lang but I already handle gid sa ila nga naga-stoop down gid ako sa akon nga mga desisyon. I
Mm-hmm.
used to be in a democratic. I used to collect ideas. Always you must collect ideas sa ila. Hindi ka magpaisog-isog, hindi ka magpa arte-arte dira. Kay mo
Mm-hmm.
ikaw ang leader, ikaw ang bida kunuhay,
Mm-hmm.
di amo na siya eh. You
Ah,
need to collect their ideas and respect their ideas. Amo gid na ang
baga
pinakamaayo.
open ka.
And then
You must be
oo,
open.
oo,
Yeah. May
open for
question.
correction o
Correct.
may question
You
kita?
must be you must be
Okay.
not
What
not
was the
not
highlight of
submissive.
your leadership? Okay. Hello,
Mm.
sir. Rendahe.
Iniel.
Riniel. Hello, sir Riniel. The highlight was the executive editor of Centralite 2003. Nong
Mm-hmm.
Reelj is also a graduate of his Master of Divinity. So I edited his achievement. So wala ako hindi ako naglagay ng restriction on what we're going to put them in the na ilalagay nila doon kasi may mga editor na nagli-limit na achievement. Ako hindi ako naglimit
Mm.
ng achievement kasi
Wait.
that's our Centralite is our memory, replica of what happened yesterday. So, yan lang ang ebidensya mo na, I was this. So, pag hindi mo nilagayan lahat dyan, wala kang mai share sa anak mo na na totoo. Wala kang
I agree.
papapatuodan. So that was
I
the
agree.
highlight. And the highlight is meron kaming sasabihin ko ba to? Meron kaming misunderstanding ng staff before because we ano kami 15 kami including the elementary.
Mm.
Asheri, hello Asheri, if you're Asheri Sonsa is my elementary editor. Siya ang pinakabata. And Asheri, sinabihan ko talaga siya na if you're going to be an editor like me in the future, kasi magaling na bata yan, gawin mo yung kung ano ang tama, hindi yung anong sinasabi ng karamihan. Yun lang ginaistorya ko sa bata ba. Pero hindi yun siya pinayagan sa tour namin kasi bata pa talaga siya, grade 6. Tapos only one. Sir, ano talaga, kung mapolitika ka sa decision mo, kasi you're going to yung mga publication, yung bidding, na intriga kami dun sa bidding. Kasi may kalaban kaming malakas, pero we used to won the Makinaugalingan printing press. Yun, during the bidding, andyan ang Central Echo. Di mo alam yan nung nandyan sila waiting for the result who will be won sa bidding na yun. Kasi it's not just 500,000, it's million. We're talking about million. Oo. And Sir Larissa is my parang siya yung tatay ko at saka si Sir Patricio. Wala na sila yata.
Yeah. Nung
Wala na sila.
Edwin na
And I choose talaga Ma'am Esther. Ma'am Esther, ano yung
Villalobos?
Ma'am Esther. Hindi, yung sa English, yung nasa ano na siya ngayon?
Romarate. Esther Romarate.
Hindi si Ma'am Titet. Si Ma'am Esther, nalimtan ko na. Aging na ako. Yung nasa India na si Ma'am India, yung DJ dati, si Ma'am Esther Anthony na ang apelyido niya ngayon, Anthony.
Hindi ko kilala.
Kilala mo yan siya, di mo rin matandaan. So that was the highlight, sir, of being in the central English. Arts.
Ang kilala ko ng Esther sa arts before, si Titit lang, si Esther Romarate.
Si Esther, Ma'am Esther.
Baka hindi siya ganun ka-active sa limelight.
Hindi. Ano siya, parang ano lang siya, short lang ang ano niya, ang stay niya sa CPU. And she's from West Visayas. Oo. Kasi kalaban yun siya ng, basta may parang hindi gusto sa kanya. So, Sir Reelj, yun talaga pinaka-big part ko kasi I'm having also my practice teaching that time.
Okay.
So,
I also remember
Centralite.
Ang Centralite namin before, that is one of my frustrations in life because when I graduated in college, kilala ko man ang editor-in-chief, but he was not like you na nilalagay lahat. Yung mga I was really so mad at him. Kaya ang akon nga achievements was just so long, and it was cut to more than half. It was cut more than half. Tapos ang kanyang page, ang kanyang achievement, grabe, 1 kilometro.
Arak yun.
Oo. Kaya sabi namin, walang hiya to. Gusto niya siya lang, kami wala.
Actually, Ma'am Reelj, you already shared that to me. Pero I have in my mind na I will not restrict any.
Kilala mo din yan.
I will not restrict any achievement kasi yun lang ang patunay natin eh. Okay, may question pa sa
may question pa siya. Actually, si Reelj siya is also one of my foster kids.
Okay.
Yeah, he's also one of my foster kids. Yan. How did you overcome criticism?
Criticism is permanent. So you need to use to
Yeah.
it. Oo.
Pero di
Ah,
paano mo how did you handle
na-overcome.
bashers?
Oo,
Oh,
bashers. Damo gid ako bashers sadto. Ano pag
Nabasa
inayaya
active
live,
ka?
oo, hindi tanan sadto sang ano we cannot wala pa sining mga Facebook. Harap-harapan na iya. Tuod na.
Oh,
Hindi ko sini gusto sang imo ya. Ari ang akon. O amo na siya. So as I have said, respect ang ilang decision, respect ang iya nga suggestion. And
hmm.
kung amo sina iya nagahipos na ako kag makita mo na ko nga hindi na ako mag-smile. Hindi na ako mag-smile kag something may nagsampok na sa ako nga kilay. And after in the afternoon hindi ko naman madumduman inang mga amo sina because ako abi nga tao hindi ako marunong magdumot. Ano magdumot?
Yeah,
Hindi ko gusto nga may maglain buot sa akon ba.
maglain.
Damo ako sa nahimo dira sa CPUNA na I confronted gid even Ma'am Jo Campo. Hi, Ma'am Pearl, if you are there. Remember mo pa si Sharon, ma'am, nga may love letter sa imo.
I
Okay.
remember,
Ah,
no, sa nag-vice governor ako isang education, I think that was that time nga nag-governor ako sang graduate
College
school.
of Theology. Sa theology,
Graduate school.
oo.
Graduate
Graduate
school
school ka.
mismo nga
Oo.
governor, if I remember it right, 2000. Oo. Yeah, ako ang governor sang graduate school, si Jaime Cabarles ang governor sang agriculture.
Agriculture.
Yeah, if I remember it right.
Ang,
So
ang
anyhow,
remember ko lang ang crush ko pero hindi ko na pagsugid. Sa
base
engineering.
makakita mo, no?
Ano na lang yun. Okay, Sir Riniel, if you want to overcome criticism, if you have this close relationship with God, pangmuyui dayon.
Mm.
Kay pangmuyui siya dayon niya nga maghumok iya heart or ikaw magtiga heart nga tagaan ka sang kaisog how to handle him. Amo na lang gid na iya. Pero
Sabagay,
hindi
no?
ka gid.
Mm.
Hindi ka
Like,
gid maghimo sang butang nga ikahuya mo sa ulihi, ma-wild ka da. So amo na siya. Criticism is always permanent. Permanent gid na siya. Kag
Mm.
i-accept na pirmiya nga may kritisismo ka gid. Open ka lang gid sa criticism. Amo lang gid na.
Sabagay, no? If you
Tapos
are doing good, a fruitful tree will never run out of people throwing stones, di ba? Kaya
yeah. Oo.
singitong yun na yan.
Oo.
Correct.
Mm.
I remember, I don't know if during your time sa CPUR, may aral na sa mga newspapers kag mga pamphlets before ng mga issue about
Yes.
si
Ara.
Amuna, di ba?
Oo, ginawan ako ng ganyan. Dalawa kami
Ginawan
ni
ka
Ma'am
rin?
Joanne Rubite.
Di
I
ba?
was in the Centralite and she was in the parang may issue doon sa kanya sa CPUR. Hindi
Mhm.
ko na matandaan kasi that time she is having her law school. Parang ganon. And ang arise na issue dati is about the Apo. Meron kaming caricature. Meron kaming
Yeah.
caricature. Oo.
Di
So,
ba?
chill lang. Hindi nyo naman ako patayin. Isog lang din siguro nung ang dugo ko nung kaya amo na.
Correct. Pero like as a leader, no, as a leader during the time, no, was there a time when you look back to it that you would regret nga ginhimo ko man to, or why have I not done that, something like that? May mga regrets ka nga you
Oo,
could have
I have
done
regrets.
something or you could have not done that thing?
I have regrets in sa grades ko. Affected gid ang grades mo sa kabisi mo. Naka-dean's list ako third year na ako na second sem. So if siguro from the very beginning I wala talaga akong inaatupag na mga cheche-breche na mga editorial na ganyan mga editor na yan. Siguro I have gone so far sa aking academic. Pero so far masaya ako. Okay ta na to okay to.
So
Sa akon lang,
somehow,
okay to ya. Oo.
so somehow in general, although you were not able to succeed academically, but
Oo.
but you can still say that as a leader you were successful as a youth leader, but
Yeah.
at the same time you
When I
sige, go.
wala nagadula ang signal.
Ayan.
Signal, please cooperate. Um,
Malapit tayo mag-end.
yung challenge kasi na after graduation is to go back here and syempre mag-teach, ganun ba? I disobeyed that. Hindi ko finalo yan. I still working on the centralized. Then for the 2 years, I have my 6 units sa masteral and law school. Yun ang
Ano yung
highlight
kagaling?
doon. And then, nang umuwi, oo, second year no, after nagkasakit kasi ako, umuwi ako dito. This was the need of our Mindanao, South Mindanao district, yung sa Alliance, na we are leading mga 2,000 young people siguro. Still the same ang nangyari, ganito. I was elected as auditor. Tapos at the middle of our uh, 2 years na term namin, may problema yung president. Ako ang nilagay na president. So, those things na naganap doon sa CPO was already a practicum for me to lead young people here sa South Mindanao. So, sikat ako di ko no. Kilala nila si Ate Bok. Wala diri sang Manang siya. Wala diri sang Sharon. It's Ate Bok
Aha.
here. So,
Okay.
oo. Yun, one reason siguro na pinauwi ako ng Panginoon because He already trained me sa CPU using the CCC, using the council, using the CPUR, yung mga leadership training na doon. Nagamit ko lahat dito sa ano. So, na yan siya at the low peak na ng aking life. Marrying age na dapat yun eh. Kasi 24 na ako eh. Nagka-boyfriend din ako, 24. So, ganun din. Doon na. It was a practicum and you are leading so many and you are dealing with so many pastors. Dito kakakita sang pastor nga, ang baba, hindi mapunggan. Because you're dealing ang camp is, nagahimo mo dira sa inyong camp every December. The camping is 6 days, 5 to 6 days. So there were sports, there were literary, merong mga ganun ba. So you need to set up many people and the resources is only 10,000 pesos at the beginning. So ang planning is from January until July.
November.
Nagkapera lang
July.
kami June kasi ubos-ubos nila kaha. And God bless us after the camp, kay bisan nakapoy lang ako, way pagid ako sang upod sa nga nang do badi-badi mo balahaw because some of your leaders sa church leader nyo didto man sila sa mga young people nyo. So isa lang gid ko diri nga taga Barrio kuno abi giglaban sa mga city churches. But one thing I'm very proud of because that the techniques, the skills in multitasking is very present with
Yeah.
delegation of responsibility is kabalok o kumbaga mag-delegate sa ila sang trabaho nga masaligan ko lang. And presently ang mga ginhimo ko nga mga guard nga mga kabataan is somehow mga pulis na subong. Kay if you know Camp Mariano is a big camping site, more than 12 hectares na slope siya no. Do gamay-gamay lang sa camp higher ground siya nung ba.
Okay.
Fully developed na siya. So, we need to put guards. Tiyang people lang kami, ang tanod namon, hindi pa na mag-cooperate sa amon. Kay sa barangay man siya nga small barangay. So, I am so very thankful nga after 10 years, nakita ko that God is truly amazing.
Yeah, indeed. No, God works in mysterious ways. No? So before we ask Manangbok to give her final challenge.
Ati Bok, it's not Manangbok.
Ipokali.
Oo.
Siyempre manang si Ilonggo mo, 'di ba
Oo,
la?
manang siya na ko
Siargao
dira
na
sa
iya,
inyo sa
manang
aton.
siya,
Dira sa
oo, 'di ba manang
manang
siya.
siya.
Gin combine ang hiligay nun kag ang Cebuano.
Oo.
Okay?
Daw maisog
Now, once
sa nga daw
again,
hindi ko
friends,
intindihan.
correct. No? So, we'd like to thank some of our friends no, who have been helping us no, sa Live Cat. Okay? Visit din. And then, of course, for all those who are fond of music no, sa J. Hodilya TV. Kung i-search mo ng J. Hodilya TV, ang lalabas po is Music Beat. Okay? Kasi pag Music Beat
Okay.
po, ang sinearch nyo, marami ang lumalabas. So, J. Hodilya na lang po i-search ninyo, lalabas po yung Music Beat. Ito yung mga kaibigan siya na tumutulong din sa vlog. So we promote each other. Di ba?
Yes.
Although itong si J. Hodilya TV, 1,000 plus yung subscribers niya. But
Wow.
he is also he's also an instrument why I am here in YouTube. Kasi ito yung
Mm.
nag-encourage sa akin na mag-YouTube
Oo.
ka. Subukan mo, no? So, yeah. So, okay. Andito pa tayo ngayon. So, anyway, no? Once again, we'd like to thank all our subscribers. Thank you very much, no? And sana po wag po kayong magsawa na magpatuloy sa pag-watch and share, no? Ang ating simple vlog so that we can also help and inspire others that life is not that bad after all. Okay? So again po, sa mga hindi po nakapag-subscribe, no? Baka naman po, no? Salamat po sa pag-click itong link sa tabi. Okay? Just click that one and then don't forget to click the notification bell, no? Para updated po kayo sa topics natin. Okay. So, Sha, before we say goodbye, I will not say thank you because I still hope that you'll have more topics in the future.
Yeah.
Diba? Ah,
Oo.
final challenge mo or advice sa mga future leaders natin na mga estudyante.
Hi, mga future leaders of the Philippines and all over the world. I have three things for you. Number one is live with God. Read His Word, and if you could have an elder, a parent na mag-guide sa imo sa mga decisions mo, amo gid na siya. I-kwanta gid na siya, i-internalize and always read His Word. Mangita kita sa mga libro nga makabulig sa aton, hindi inang libro nga kundi nga makapatalang sa imo. Okay, number two is be always thankful. Thankful kita sa tanan nga opportunities, even in all circumstances. Bisan negative ina siya, bisan nagralain na ikaw, still thankful. Hindi kay sino ka mag-thank to the Lord, to the people around you, nga kinahanglan gid nga pasalamatan. Always gid thankful and always be polite nang hindi bala kita nagabugso-bugso bala sa aton nga mga ginaistorya, sa aton nga mga negotiation dira. And lastly is respect others opinion. Amo gid na siya kung leader ka. Dapat may ara ka respeto first sa imo nga sarili, like what nung Reelj sa iya nga devotional. We cannot serve others kung wala naton ginaserbihan ang aton nga kaugalingon. And wala naton ginaserbihan ang aton nga pamilya. Pamilya gid una-una gid. If ang challenge ko sa inyo sa about this respect others, inang wala bala sang available nga tao kundi ikaw lang gid. So i-respect mo ang imo nga self. Isipon mo anay kung gusto mo ina or ang availability mo ihatag mo siya because nagpay respect gid ako sa lola namon sang nagpuli ako di because I have unemployment for almost 8 months diri. Ginbantayan ko gid ang lola namon. So all of them are working, ginbantayan ko gid ang lola namon. Amo na ginambal ko nga respect gid, respeto sa elders, respeto sa iban nga tao. Kag bisan bata, respetuhain na siya kay it has already his mind, tao man na siya. Bisan ang mga sapat mo dira respetuha. So that's amo lang ng 3 points nga gusto ko i-share sa mga future leaders naton. So, kwaon gid ang kahambog sa kaugalingon, sa heart. Ba mo din ga umpisa ang kahambog sa heart mo, sa mind mo. Sa imo lang gid na
Correct.
nga ang imo gid ginaisip pirmi. Ay, kung makilala ako, amo ni. No, you need to work for it humbly.
Mm.
Dapat humble
Respect
lang gid
begets
kita.
respect. Mm.
Oo, kag humble gid kita
Correct.
dapat kay
Yes, correct.
nang makita man na sang tawo
Mm.
ang aton nga actions is a mirror of what's inside.
Correct.
Amo lang gid na siya no. Thank you
Yes,
sa
so
invitation.
there you have it. There you have it, my dear friends. So, Sha, thank you very much. I know you are preparing for a contest no, sa
Yeah.
student mo for the next few days, but thank you very much for sparing an hour with us. And there you have it, friends. I hope that you would continue to join us every Sunday at 2 p.m. and then every Saturday, 2 p.m. then no, for the Love Hour series. And then next week, no, we would still be talking about youth leadership, pero ano, iba naman yung guest natin next week.
Yeah.
Also a CPUR leader, no, also a
Mm-mm.
CPUR leader during his time. Graduate din siya ng graduate school no, sa CPU, and isa siya sa mga successor ko nga governor sa School of Graduate Studies. So,
Wow.
well, friends, yaon, kung kailan nagtanda doon na governor, ano? Kasi di ba before, puro backseat lang ako sa leadership. No? Backstage ako, pag-graduate school ko, why na
Huwag ka
ko
naklaban.
choice. Why na ko choice. So, ikaw
Out.
na, imo na to ka.
I have, no, before mag-end ta, gusto ko man
Yes.
i-share yung kasama kong high school editor na si Marvin Sigura.
Uy,
Very
si
good
Marvin.
kid. Yes, very good
Yeah.
kid. He's now working
Yeah.
sa sa
Sa Malacanang siya
Malacanang
before
siya
the
dati.
work.
Oo.
Oo, dati.
Oo.
But now,
So,
I'm
hi
not sure kung hindi na
Marbs!
si Marvin.
Oo.
Yeah. Friends kami gyapon sa Facebook.
Oo.
Sometime nag-chat kami doon ni Marvin. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So, well, there you
Muna
have it,
siya ang
friends. As we would always say, amidst the chaos and the problem or of our society, and the midst of the pandemic and the struggles that we have, never ever give up, because God can read each calling here. He sees each heart that's needing here. He knows each path that is hard and difficult, but never ever give up, because God is always near. Good afternoon po, and God bless us all.